For today's episode, I wanted to replay one of the past episodes that you and everyone else has been loving here at the Elementary STEM Coach podcast. Whether you have listened to it yet or not, this episode is a great refresher and you can always learn something new. I always do when I listen back to my episodes. Thank you so much for tuning in each and every week. I appreciate you and you being a part of my online STEM community. Enjoy this episode. Looking for some fun winter STEM activities? These 5 winter-themed challenges are perfect for sub-plans, one-day lessons, and even classroom parties. Let's jump into these 5 fun winter ideas. Welcome to the Elementary STEM Coach podcast, a show that'll help you with lesson ideas, systems, and actionable tips to apply to your classroom. I am your host, Naomi Meredith, a former classroom teacher turned current STEM teacher and coach. With over a decade of experience teaching and a master's degree in STEM leadership, I am here to coach you throughout the year to help you gain back more time to create innovative experiences for your students. Grab your earbuds and let's get started. I wanted to try something new with you guys and update you on all the things that are happening over here in my STEM world so you don't miss out on anything, especially if you listen to these podcasts live when they come out. So all the fun announcements. I love a good organizational thing before we jump in. So first of all, I am planning the last episode of 2022. The podcast is not going away, but the last episode for 2022, and I actually want you to help me create it. I thought that would be super fun to have a fun episode for the last episode of 2022. So it's an Ask Me Anything episode. So you can ask me anything STEM or even personal that you want to know about me, and I will answer it on the show. So you can send me a DM on Instagram at Naomi Meredith _, or you can record me a voice message at naomimeredith.com/voice. That was so much fun when you guys recorded those voice messages for me. I loved hearing your voice. So either way, totally fine. I've already got some over on Instagram already, but let me know what you want to know. If it's super, super detailed, I'll keep it brief, but that will help me even for big episodes. But I think this would be super, super fun. And thinking about the new year, I am going to start hosting virtual live workshops. Of course, they'll be recorded. But I thought that this would be an awesome time to learn and connect with other STEM teachers because I know how it feels being all alone and also needing a space to collaborate and learn. And so I would want you to not miss out again on this. So join the waitlist here and be the first to know when it's open. So you can get that at naomimeredith.com/workshop waitlist. And of course, all of this that I'm talking about is going to be linked in the show notes. So if you're driving, don't worry about it. Just click on the show notes and then all that info will be here. So super excited to collaborate even more and make this elementary STEM world smaller. So let's jump into these winter STEM challenges that I know that you're definitely going to love. My students have had a really fun time with these, so you can definitely take these on into your classroom. Of course, these are also linked in the show notes and will be in my TPT shop. So if you really need to save some time, it is all packaged together for you nicely. The first winter STEM activity to try is an area and perimeter wrapping paper challenge. I used to teach STEM only 3 days out of the week when I first got started, so I was always looking for quick activities. And oftentimes these theme challenges would pop in and would be perfect for the week. All you need for this challenge is some cheap wrapping paper. You can even use butcher paper that is at your classroom. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit harder to wrap with, but if you want to save some time, grab that from your school, and some small boxes. If you can, make sure all of the boxes are about the same size. This will make the challenge more even for all of the kids, so that all of their numbers can be compared, but definitely up to you if you don't really care about that part. So the goal for this challenge is students will be presented with 3 different methods for wrapping a gift. So you can look up different videos on YouTube. I have created a few different methods and quick little videos for kids that are included in this resource, but show them 3 different methods for wrapping a gift, and students will choose one of those methods or a method that they already know and then wrap the gift. From there, they're actually going to unwrap the gift carefully, and they're going to actually measure the wrapping paper that they used and measure for the area and the perimeter. You can have students measure just in inches, just in centimeters. They can measure in both and then see what are the similarities and differences if you want them to practice different types of measurement. From there, if the kids have the same size box, you can actually record the data using a line plot, or you can graph all of that data as well. And even further, you can even compare the wrapping methods that students used and really talk about what methods are better or worse. This challenge was inspired by a volunteer opportunity I did in high school, which was way long ago. But I did a volunteer opportunity with one of my friends in high school where we were at the mall and people would bring in their gifts and we would wrap them for free. I think any tips that were collected were for donations. We didn't receive any money, but it was super fun. I learned how to wrap gifts in a very concise and precise way. And so this was really a good challenge for students too, because it's not always a winter challenge wrapping gifts, but I was super shocked. So many kids didn't know how to wrap gifts, and a lot of them were actually getting really frustrated because they had never done this before. And some kids were telling me it was impossible, which, like I said, everything new is hard at first. So this was actually a really good life skill. But again, practicing that area and perimeter in a real life way and learning which wrapping method might work best and use the least amount of paper. Getting overwhelmed with researching, planning, and teaching meaningful K-5 STEM lessons? It can be a lot of work, and I completely understand. When I walked into my brand new role at a brand new classroom with zero curriculum, over the years, I've been developing a K-5 STEM year-long plan that is rooted in standards, the engineering design process, and station rotations. In fact, don't just take it from me. Here's what other teachers are saying about these plans. Anne says, this was a very helpful resource for me as a new STEM teacher. I appreciate that I had activities for all grade levels. My students loved all of these lessons. Tara says, this resource is amazing. I love that these are challenges that have been tried in the classroom. One of the best things that I purchased. There are over 50 lessons already included in the bundle, and it's growing. Everything new that is added, lessons, and updates, you will always get for free when you purchase today. As a bonus, I included a free digital teacher plan book that is made specifically for K-5 STEM teachers who have a lot of classes and plans to manage every day. It's easy to edit and gives you enough blocks to write in, unlike most paper planners out there. Being a podcast listener, I am giving you an exclusive $30 off code for the entire K-5 STEM bundle. You can grab the bundle at naomimeredith.com/K5STEM and put in the code PODCASTK5 at checkout. The second winter STEM activity to try is Snowman States of Matter. One of my all-time favorite books is The Snowy Day. This is such a cute book. And really, when you read this book, it has the 3 states of matter when it comes to solids, liquids, and gases for water. So reread it with that frame of mind because it will definitely pop up at you. After reading this book with students, you can talk about the 3 states of matter. So there's that S in science. And then students can build the different states of matter of a snowman, the solid, liquid, and gas, using Play-Doh or modeling clay. I prefer using the Crayola modeling clay. I've talked about this in past episodes. It doesn't dry out. It can be reused over and over again, and it's not as crumbly as Play-Doh. I get really frustrated with Play-Doh sometimes when it gets all crumbled up. The kids don't put the cap on. I know there's ways that you can reinfuse it with water, blah, 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 but not for me. I don't have time for that. So the Crayola modeling clay works well for this activity, and then they can demonstrate their learning by sharing it with other students in the class. Or if you want to take it even further, you can integrate technologies such as Seesaw, Flipgrid, all of those things where they can take a video and talk about how the 3 states of matter are represented in their snowman. The third winter-themed STEM activity to try are toothpick snowflakes. We know in the older grades, it can get a little bit confusing of what the different lines, angles, and even how to measure different angles can be and how to remember how to do that. So why not do that type of lesson in a hands-on way? There is so much science and math behind snowflakes and how they are naturally created. And there's tons of videos that you can check out on YouTube that talk about the symmetry and the math behind a snowflake. After you discuss this and go over key vocabulary, students can create their own unique snowflake using toothpicks. You can have them tape them together. They can even glue them on paper using liquid glue. And then after that, they can record the math that is represented in their snowflakes, such as the lines of symmetry, the different types of angles, and they can even measure the angles that are in their design. To have students be really precise with their snowflakes, I would recommend having them measure using a ruler and then really be thoughtful about their snowflake design. This will actually take longer than you think because students are really trying to be precise with their snowflake design. So this is a great challenge that you can really dive in deeper when talking about those lines and angles. The fourth winter STEM activity to try is a gingerbread man STEM challenge. You can do this if you are reading different variations of the gingerbread man, which is so fun to read all of those different ones. I still have a collection of those books in my classroom because like I told you, you know me, I love a good theme and I love holidays and I love seasons and times of year. So after reading different versions of the gingerbread man, you could talk with the kids and say, what if the gingerbread man had a streak of engineer creativity and decided to create a way to cross the river so that the fox wouldn't be able to eat it? This is a great lesson about sinking and floating and noticing what materials will sink or float and why. You can talk even more about the why behind it. And students can engineer a way for the gingerbread man to stay safe and travel safely across the water. You can fill up different buckets of water. I recommend putting these on the floor and having plenty of towels available, and students can engineer their fun design. If you want students to share their work, for me personally, I take the videos and Seesaw with my phone really, really quick and upload them to the students' journals. I don't trust kids and technology and water all in the same vicinity of each other. So that's just definitely my recommendation. But this is a really cool way to think of an alternate ending to the original gingerbread man story. The fifth winter STEM activity to try goes along with the story 10 on the sled, and students, they will be building a sled. After reading this cute counting story, students can create the 10 animals that are in the story, or you can give them pictures of the 10 animals that are listed, and students can design a sled that can keep all 10 animals on the sled when it's being tested. You can give students any types of materials that you would like. I like to use popsicle sticks, straws, pipe cleaners, and tape if I'm being nice. Sometimes I won't use tape, but you can use some tape. And students can engineer their sled and even test it. If you have a giant piece of cardboard, they can test their sleds and see if all 10 animals can stay on top. Now, a little trick with the animals is you can put them on Unifix cubes so they're more chunky. You have little pictures on paper, put them on Unifix cubes, and then they could maybe tape the animals on or engineer a way to create seatbelts or whatever. But this is a cool way to bring this simple counting story to life and make sure that all 10 animals stay on top. As a recap, here are the 5 winter STEM activities that we talked about in this episode that you can try in your classroom. First, we have the Area and Perimeter Wrapping Paper Challenge. Next are the Snowman States of Matter. Third are Toothpick Snowflakes. Fourth is the Gingerbread Man STEM Challenge. And fifth is the 10 on the Sled book activity. If you try any of these winter STEM challenges in your classroom, make sure to take pictures and videos of them in action and tag me on Instagram at @NaomiMeredith_. I would love to see how these go in your classroom. And of course, these can all be found in the show notes linked for today, where you can have it all packaged up nicely and have all the things that you're looking for to have a success in your classroom. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Elementary STEM Coach Podcast. I would love to connect with you over on Instagram at @NaomiMeredith_, or send me an email to elementarystemcoachpodcast@gmail.com. Also, make sure to check out my website, NaomiMeredith.com, to see all the show notes from today's episode and shop my K-5 STEM resources. Any questions you have, needs for resources, or ideas for episodes, get in touch. I'll talk to you soon.